Now we need to do a similar thing that we did with these, is use the Boolean modifier to cut the hole. And also I think we're going to need to chop this in half and mirror it over again because we don't have a mirror modifier on it. So let's select this one, this glass block, and let's just tab into edit mode, go to face mode and select that back face. Oh, it looks like it has several back faces. So what let's do is press Alt Z so we can see through it. Select those back faces and then let's just pull this through. Now we can go ahead and use the Boolean modifier to cut this hole. So let's select the panel here. I think what I want to do is apply this solidify modifier before I try and cut it with a Boolean. So let's go ahead and click apply. I'll press Alt Z to go back to solid mode. And then let's hit add modifier, Boolean. We'll click the eyedropper, select that glass block. My operation is still set to difference, and then I'll click apply. Now what we can do is tab back into edit mode. Well, no, for the glass block, let's select that and tab into edit mode. And now if we pull this back, we can see we've got that hole cut in it. So let's move that back to about right there. All right, that's good, but as you can see, the problem is we don't have it over here on the other side. So let's cut this in half and mirror it over. I'll press Alt Z and tab into edit mode, and then with the B key, I'll border select this side, and then let's press X and delete faces. Okay, so now if we tab back into object mode, we have just one half of it. Now let's go and add a mirror modifier. There we go. And let's turn on clipping. All right, and now if we click apply, there it is. So now we just need to mirror the block and the brackets over. Before I do that though, I think I want to round off some of these corners, and to do that I'm going to need to apply the solidify modifier. So let's work on this one first. I will click apply here, and then remember we had some points down here that we need to deal with. So let me grab these and kind of pull those down. All right, and over here, let me do the same thing. I'll just pull these down as well, just to make them look a little cleaner. There we go. Now let's select these edges here and here. And I think I want them up here too. So let's go ahead and select these edges up here and also over here. Let's do that. There we go. Now to bevel those edges, let's press Control B, and I'll hold the Shift key down and drag the mouse out, and we'll kind of pull those out to bevel those corners. And we'll also add a few extra cuts just to curve that a bit. Yeah, that should work out okay. We could also smooth those. And of course that looks terrible. So let's come over here to Object Data and turn on Auto Smooth, and that looks a little bit better. All right, let's do that for these too. Let me go to Vertex mode, and let's see if we can select these points in here. I'll press Alt Z, and oh, well, the problem is, the reason why I can't see the points in there is because we haven't applied the solidify modifier. So let's go over here and click apply. Now if we tab into edit mode, there they are. That's what we want. Let's pull this up, and let's pull this up. There we go. And over here, let's pull that up into here, and we'll pull that up into here. There we go. Now let's select these edges again, just like we did before. All right, so we have all of those selected. I'll press Control B, and once again, pull out like that, and we already have 3 segments in here still, so that gives us that rounded effect. I'll also smooth that. And all this smoothing I'm doing may change once we begin joining things together in the final product, but at least for now it makes it look a little bit better. All right, so now that we have those in place, let's go ahead and mirror these over to the other side. And to do that, I think just for ease of use, I will go ahead and select all of these and press Control J so it's all one object. And then let's move this pivot point to the center of the grid. But to do that, I need to move that cursor first. So I'll press Shift S1 to move the cursor to the center of the grid. And then I'll come up here and click Object, Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. All right, so now let's go to our modifiers panel and add that mirror modifier here. And there we go. There it is. Our next task is going to be to figure out how to do these front windows. And I don't think it's going to be too different than what we did for the side windows. I think what we need to do is begin with a polygon plane and set that in here, right in here, and then just begin extruding and scaling and extruding out until we get this basic shape. So let's take a look at that. I'll select this cabin and select that face, and let's move the cursor to it with Shift S2. Now let's go ahead and create a polygon plane with Shift A, mesh plane. Here we go. I'll turn it in the x-axis with RX90. There we go. And I'll scale it down. And at least for now, what I'm going to do is go to the front view, and let's go to wireframe here. And I want to make this about the right shape before we tilt it. And then we're going to adjust the edges once we tilt it. But at least for now, let's see what we can do here. I think it looks a little bit angled here. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe I will place this right in here, right about here. And then let's tab into edit mode and grab this and move it up. We could maybe move this to the side over here like that. And maybe, I think we can pull that in like this just a bit. Let's hide the vehicle main. Let's do that. And yeah, it looks like it's angled there. Let's go ahead and add an edge loop here. And then if I select that edge and pull it over, it kind of gives me that basic shape, right? So now though, let's go to the side view and let's rotate it. Let's press R and rotate it and try and get it in here aligned to that front part of the cab. I believe I better bring this back so we can see this. We're still in local mode, so I'll bring this down like this. There we go, something like that. And then let's go ahead and tab into edit mode, go to vertex select, and I'll border select these points and pull them down in the local axis like this. Maybe something like that. And then up here, let's grab this and pull this up in the local axis, something like that. Let's see how that looks. Really difficult to say. I think I want this to be out a little bit farther so it matches up with the actual border here, like that. So from here, what we should do is extrude in, scale, and pull out. So let's tab into edit mode. I'll go to face select and select these two faces. So now I'm going to go ahead and use that inset tool like we've used before. I'll press the I key and let's inset this just a little bit like this. How we doing with the border? Yeah, that looks pretty even all the way around, so that looks good. Now what let's do is go to the side view and let's extrude up, pull it up some. I'll hit E and just pull straight out, and let's see how we do here. Maybe something like this. Let's try that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And from here, we could select these edges here. I'll press Alt and click this edge, and that'll select the edges all the way around. And then we could extrude back into the cab. So if we hit E and then enter and then drag straight back into the cab like that, that'll give it that little bit of a rim around it. And now we gave it just a little bit of an extrusion around here to kind of separate that glass from the rest of the window. So let's try that. Let's see how this works. And once again, we're just blocking in the basic shapes. Some of this may change as we begin to UV map or texture. We're not going to really know how well we're doing until we actually begin to UV map and texture the thing. But we can do the best we can here by just blocking in the basic shapes. So with this selected, I'll hit the I key again and scale in just a bit. And then I'll hit E and pull in just a smidge. Then I'll hit I and inset just a little bit. And then hit E and pull back out just a bit like that. See how that works. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and mirror it over to the other side. I'll grab that. Move the cursor with Shift S1. That takes it to the center of the grid. Move the origin to the 3D cursor. Add a mirror modifier. And there we go. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm going to go ahead and save our work. And remember that I'm saving in versions here, and I think you should too. Be sure as you're working, as you do any major part, save a new version. And to do that, you can just press Control-Shift-S. And if you have a number at the end of the file name, it'll just increment that number. So currently I'm at version 31. I can press Control-Shift-S and then hit the plus key on the numpad, and it'll increment it to 32, and then hit save, and now we have a new version. So I'm doing this for each of the videos, but I also do it anytime I'm working on a complex project. Anytime you create a new piece of the project, go ahead and save a new version.